handle, and knobs. A hinge is a type of bearing that connects two solid objects. Hinges may be made of flexible material or of moving components. There are different types. They are butt hinge, rising butt hinge, strap hinge, spring hinge, H-hinge, T-hinge, band and hook hinge, pivot hinge, cylinder hinge. Let's look at the various types of hinges one by one. Butt hinge. A butt hinge is commonly used while fixing doors and casements. The butt hinge has two halves called leaves. These leaves are fixed by using a pin. The leaves fold when a door is closed and open to allow the door to open properly. Rising butt hinge. Rising butt hinges are used for doorways that have thick carpets or floor covering underneath them. The rising butt hinge is equipped with two leaves that are held together and a knuckle joint. This joint raises the hinge by 10 centimeters when the doors are opened. Strap hinges. Strap hinges are installed in ledged and braced doors, such as those found in garages and stables. Much like the butt hinge, it has two leaves installed with the help of a pin in the center of the flaps joining them together. Spring hinges. Spring hinges are installed in swing doors. The single spring hinges have one spring that are used in doors that open in one direction. The double spring hinges have two springs that are used for doors that open in an inward and outward direction. The doors close automatically with the action of the springs. H-hinges. H-hinge is also called a parliament hinge. It looks similar to the butt hinge. This hinge also has two leaves and a knuckle. It is installed exactly like the butt hinge by using a pin. The H-hinge is available in different sizes. You can find H-hinges mostly on corner cupboards. T-hinge. A T-hinge has a long, mild steel strap. This is fixed on the outer side of the door and with a crossbar that is hinged to the strap and fixed with screws to the post of the door frame. Band and hook hinge. It looks similar to the T-hinge. It contains an iron strip called band. The band drops onto a pin called hook. This hinge is attached to the frame of the doors or windows. Pivot hinge. A pivot hinge is used for windows. This hinge consists of a simple plate and a plate with a pin. It is installed by fitting the pin into the hole of the simple plate, joining both the plates together. Cylinder hinge. A cylinder hinge is used for folding doors. The best part of cylinder hinge is that it is not visible when the door is closed. This hinge is fit in the holes drilled in the wood. Hasp and staple are two separate parts. They are used in combination with a padlock. The hasp is fixed to the door and staple is fixed to the door frame. It is best to use bolts and nuts to fit them, as screws cannot hold so strongly. Alternate to hasp and staple. Use a padlock as an alternative lock to hasp and staple. This locking system has two plates with holes. One plate is fixed on the edges of the door and the other is fixed on the post. You can pass a padlock easily through these holes to lock. A barrel bolt has a plate with a round bolt. The plate is fixed with the help of screws from inside the door and staple is fixed to the frame. The round bolt engages in the staple. The barrel bolts are commonly used to lock casements. They are available in various sizes and material. Tower bolt. A tower bolt has a plate with a flat bolt. This bolt goes inside the staple that is fixed in the frame. Let's look at various types of locks and fittings. Mortise lock, rim lock, and padlock. Mortise locks. A mortise lock consists of a stock, faceplate, latch bolt, lock bolt, and a handle. It is installed in thick doors. They are very safe locks that cannot be opened by force. The spindle is fit in one hand and secured in the other by using a pin. The lock is fixed on the inner side of the door to make it more secure. The leaf plates are attached to both the sides of the door with screws. Rim lock. A rim lock has a latch bolt operated by a handle and a lock bolt. Use a key to operate this lock. You can easily operate this lock from both inside or outside the door. The lock is fixed towards inside of the door by using screws. The faceplate is attached with screws to the door's edge. The outer side of the door has two round plates. One to hold the handle and the other to cover the keyhole. The handle has a square spindle that fits into the brush of the lock. Padlocks. A padlock has a ring that locks into its body. The locking mechanism is either a lever mechanism or a locking cylinder. Door handles and knobs are little things that have a big impact. There are many choices that can match and beautify the style of your interiors. Let's look at various types of handles and knobs. Cabinet handle. Cabinet handles are classic handles that are fixed from two pivots, one at each end. Drop handle. Drop handle has a teardrop-shaped handle or decorative finger gap. It is fixed in the center of the handle. Drop handle is used for small-sized drawers. Ring pull handle. Ring pull handle looks similar to teardrop-shaped handle. There is a ring that hangs from the top of a backing plate. Door or drawer knob. Drawer knob is round in shape. It is made of wood, metal or ceramic. There is a screw projecting from its back which is used to install it to the door or the drawer. Drawer pull. It is a single-piece handle. They are used best for cupboards and drawers. D-handles. D-handles are made of wood, metal or plastic. They are best suited for simple or stylish furniture. Sliding door handle. These handles are circular or rectangular in shape. They are used for sliding doors. Some precaution points for accessories and fittings. Take proper measurement of the area to get accurate size of fittings. Make sure the joint is built neatly and is cleaned before installing any accessory or fitting. Check that the locks or hinges are fully rust-free. Check that the holes are drilled properly and according to the workpiece. Carefully measure and mark your distances and use the cardboard as a guide for placing your drill holes. Check the gap closely, as sometimes there may be frayed edges or small shavings holding it from closing further. If this has happened, take your utility knife and cut the small pieces free so you then can close the gap. Don't forget to measure and mark the position of all the holes. Be careful not to scratch countertops and wood surfaces when working with sharp tools. Tighten screws firmly, but be careful not to screw them too tight, because doing so may damage the wood. Use a nail hammered lightly to make a pilot hole before drilling to minimize the risk of splitting the wood. 99% of all woodworking projects will require you to use glue to bond the wooden members together. In this session, you will learn about the different types of glues and their correct application. After completing this session, you will be able to identify the different types of glue and their correct application, select and apply the adhesives to fix ply, sunmica, etc., and fix general accessories if required, like rubber, decorative pieces, etc. A wide range of woodworking adhesives are available in the market. Polyvinyl acetate, or PVA, has been used for decades in woodworking and carpentry workshops. You probably know it by the more common and descriptive name of white glue. The fact that PVA glue can bind a wide variety of substances has made it a popular choice with carpenters. White glue is not waterproof and has a set time of 60 to 90 seconds. Brands of white glue include Fevicol, MR, and Araldite Carpenter. While gluing plywood, laminates or sunmica, it is best to use the PVA glue. In some cases, you can even use the synthetic resin glue to join them. Synthetic resin glue comes in handy while fixing long sheets of laminates or sunmica. For instance, on the cupboard panels. Irrespective of the types of glue, the basic application of glue remains the same. Let's look at the procedure to apply glue. Smoothen both the surfaces with a smoothing plane. And clean any dust and grime off the wooden pieces before they are to be glued. Prepare the glue as directed by the glue manufacturers. Apply a generous amount of glue on both the surfaces of the wooden pieces. Use a brush to spread the glue evenly. Place both the wooden pieces one above the other such that the glue-covered surfaces are facing each other. Press them together. Clamp the surfaces together. Ensure that you keep a small wooden piece over the workpiece on both the sides where your clamp would hold them, so that there is no marring on your workpiece. Tighten the clamp, making sure the excess glue oozes out all the way. Clean up the excess glue with a damp cloth. Allow the glue to dry according to the manufacturer's instructions. Remove the clamps after the glue is dry. And here you are with the perfect bonding of your workpiece together. You can repair broken decorative items in the house using PVA glue. Keep the following precautions in mind while working with adhesives. Clean the joining surface to remove dust and grime. Use a brush to spread the glue evenly. Clamp the surface until the glue sets in. Wipe off the excess glue that oozes out with a damp cloth. Allow the glue to dry completely. Avoid glue contact with skin. Use protective gloves if you are working with strong glue. In this session, you will learn to turn a lifeless board of wood into a functional pen holder. It demonstrates the construction of a hexagonal pen holder from scratch. After completing this session, you will be able to estimate the materials required for a pen holder, construct a pen holder as per the drawing. To construct a pen holder, you must prepare a cutting list to estimate the cost and buy the required material. Start by carefully examining the work drawing for dimensions and design of the pen holder. A cutting list must specify the length, width, and the thickness of the wood. Here we are using a hardwood strip of dimensions 900 by 50 by 12 millimeters. The list should also state the tools and material required to make the workpiece and also the quantity required. In order to make a pen holder, you will require hardwood strip, nails, woodworking adhesives, sandpaper, steel ruler, measuring tape, marking gauge, tri-square, pencil, hand saw, jack plane, smoothing plane, firmer chisel, crosspeen hammer, wooden mallet, oil stone, pincers, flat file. Now that the preparations are done, it's time to get working on your workpiece. Step 1. Take a wooden piece. Select the wooden face that is free from knots and shakes. Use a jack plane to smoothen the surface flat. Mark this as the face side with a pencil mark. Use a jack plane to plane the edge flat to the face side. Check it with a tri-square for its squareness. Plane the edge further if required and mark it with a pencil. This is now the face edge. Your wooden piece is now ready. Step 2. Next, cut the pieces to length. Use a steel ruler to mark the length. Set the marking gauge to the required thickness and mark a parallel line along its length on the face side. Support the wooden piece against the bench top. Use a hand saw to cut the pieces along the gouged line. Using a smoothing plane to smooth any ridges left on the edge. These components will make the sides of the pen holder. Step 3. Set the mitre square to a 45-degree angle with the help of a protractor. Place the mitre square on the edge of the inner side and mark a line with a pencil for the tapering cut on the width of each wooden piece. Support the wooden piece against the bench top and taper the edges using a jack plane of both the sides. Ensure the 45-degree tapering cut with the mitre square. Similarly, cut all the 6 pieces required for the pen holder. Step 4. Our next step is to cut out the base. Take a small square piece of plywood and mark the points with a steel ruler and pencil. Use a spring caliper to gouge a circle and the points for the sides. Darken the points with a pencil. Join the lines to the marked points to make a hexagonal shape. Now, keeping the piece on a plank of wood for a raised level, use a hand saw and cut along the trace line all the way around the shape. Measure and check the size of the side. Now, we are ready with the 6 sides and the base for our pen holder. Step 5. Check the corners for any roughness. If required, you may use a flat file to give the corners a smooth finish for perfect joining. Mark the inner sides with a pencil. Step 6. Use a brush to apply glue on the edges to all the joining sides and the sides of the base. Step 7. Hold the base and check for the correct edge and fix the side panels. You can drive small headless nails to fix the base. Take another panel and fix it on the other edge of the base. Similarly, fix all the other sides. Ensure that you fix the right side for a perfect seam. Once you are done, check that the base and the sides are aligned with each other. Remove the excess glue with a damp cloth and you are done. Leave the glue to dry. Step 8. Once you've assembled the components together, you need to give the finishing touches to your pen holder. Take a sandpaper and sand down all the rough edges and smoothen the surface before you apply polish. Step 9. Take a clean cotton cloth and dip it in the liquid. Squeeze out the liquid and apply it to your workpiece gently. Apply at one stroke from top to bottom to prevent marks. Continue till you have covered the entire workpiece. And here you are done with your final pen holder. Use this practical guide to make a pen holder of your own. Here is a recap of the broad steps you need to perform to complete the workpiece. Step 1. Square the wooden piece. Step 2. Cut the pieces to length. Step 3. Chamfer the edges. Step 4. Cut out the base. Step 5. Smoothen the corners. Step 6. Apply glue to the components. Step 7. Assemble the components. Step 8. Give finishing touches. Step 9. Apply polish. It is time to practice your carpentry skills and create something of use at the same time. Having your own oilstone stand will allow you to sharpen your tools with ease. In this session, you will learn to create a utilitarian oilstone stand. After completing this session, you will be able to estimate the material required for an oilstone stand. Construct an oilstone stand as per the drawing. To construct an oilstone stand, you must prepare a cutting list to buy and estimate the cost of the material needed. Start by carefully examining the work drawing for dimensions and design of the oilstone stand. Woods that work well are mango or ash wood. You can even use any other hardwood. Inspect the wood to make sure it's free of flaws like knots and other defects. A cutting list must specify the length, width and thickness of the wood. We will use a hardwood strip of dimensions of 310 by 100 by 30 millimeters. The list should also state the tools and materials required to make the workpiece along with their quantity. In order to make an oilstone stand, you will require steel ruler, measuring tape, a pencil, a marking gauge, cutting gauge, a tri-square, a handsaw, a jack plane, a smoothing plane, a firmer chisel, a bevel edge chisel, a wooden mallet, a ball peen hammer, a sandpaper as per your requirement. Now that the preparations are done, it is time to get started on your workpiece. Start off by bringing the wood to size. Check the wood piece and select the side free from blemishes and knots. Step 1. Go on to mark the layout. Take a measuring tape and a pencil and mark the points for the length and width. Take a tri-square, Align it to the edge of the wooden piece and mark a straight line to join the lines. This will determine the length of your oilstone stand. Mark out the recess that will hold the oilstone. The dimensions should be such that it holds the oilstone snugly but not too tight. Remember, the recess should be located right in the center, at equal distance from both the side edges. Moving on to the handle. The handle should be wide enough to allow the user to easily step on it. Keeping this in mind, mark out the width and then draw tapering lines from both the width points. Make the layout on the wooden piece as per your design. This will determine the reference to make your oil stand. Step 2. Support the wooden piece against the bench top and place an extra piece of wood below the workpiece so that it is raised to make the cut. Use a handsaw and bring the wood to the requisite size. Cut off the waste from the handle. Cut on the waste side of the cutting line. Step 3. Support the wooden piece against the bench top and smoothen the face edge flat by using a smoothing plane. Keep checking and smoothing till you get the desired flatness on both the handle edges. Step 4. Once the layout has been cut, start paring out the wood to make your recess. Put the workpiece flat on the workbench, face side up, and support it against the bench top. Hold a bevel edge chisel perpendicular to the wood, keeping the blade on the marked line. Cut a series of parallel lines about 1/4 inch apart, staying within the scored lines. Drive it in with the sharp force of a wooden mallet. Then cut out the entire outline in the same fashion. Keep the cut straight and perpendicular to the edge. Remember, the depth of the cut should not be more than 1/3 of the thickness of the oilstone. Now, remove the waste wood from within the outline cut you made. Clean up the recess until its bottom is smooth and flat and at a depth exactly 1/3 to the thickness of the oilstone. Test fit the oilstone as you work to check the recess depth. Flatten the bottom smooth. Step 5. You now have an oilstone stand. There's just one thing left to be done: giving the finishing touches. Take sandpaper and sand down all the rough edges to achieve a smooth and even surface. Use this practical guide to make an oilstone stand of your own. Here is a recap of the broad steps you need to perform to complete the workpiece. Step 1. Mark the layout. Step 2. Cut out the waste. Step 3. Smoothen the edges. Step 4. Pare out the waste. Step 5. Give finishing touches. Here's another easy project for someone who is new to carpentry. This project will encompass basic working techniques. In this session, you will learn to build a simple wooden footrest. After completing this session, you will be able to estimate the material required for a footrest, construct a footrest as per the drawing. To construct a footrest, you must prepare a cutting list to buy and estimate the cost of the material needed. Start by carefully examining the work drawing for dimensions and design of the footrest. A cutting list must specify the length, width, and thickness of the wood. In order to make a sturdy footrest, use any hardwood, plywood, or a block board. Ensure your plywood is between 15 mm to 19 mm thickness. Here we are using a hardwood plank of dimensions 1200 by 180 by 25 mm to make the frame of the footrest. Whereas we have used 10 hardwood strips of 370 by 50 by 25 mm to construct the top part of the footrest. The list should also state the tools and materials used to make the workpiece and the quantity required. In order to make a footrest, you will require nails, screws, woodworking adhesive, sandpaper as per your requirement, measuring tape, steel ruler, marking gauge, tri-square, pencil, handsaw, jack plane, smoothing plane, ball peen hammer, nail punch, pincers, screwdriver. Now that the preparation is done, it's time to get started on your workpiece. Before you start cutting the parts for the frame of a footrest, you must first square the wooden piece. Select the wooden face that is free from knots and shakes. Fix the wooden plank to the bench vise and tighten it for support. Use a jack plane to plane the face side and its edge flat. Check with a tri-square for its trueness. If required, plane the side further as desired and mark it with a pencil. This is now your face edge. All other measurements must be taken from either face side or face edge. Step 2. Measure mark the dimensions for the frame to the specifications provided in the drawing. Use this pencil to mark the length of the tapering cut for the sides. Fix the workpiece on the workbench with a G-clamp for support. Ensure to keep 2 scrap wood on the workpiece to avoid any marring by the clamp. Use the handsaw to cut the pieces on the marked lines. Similarly, prepare the other side. Now, nail both the side pieces together with 2 wire nails. Fix them to the bench vise on the workbench for support. Plane the unfinished side down to the lines so they both are of the same size. Keep checking with a tri-square for its trueness and smoothen all the sides. Separate both the pieces and remove the wire nails with the help of a pincer. This is now the side support of your footrest. Step 3. Measure the height of the side support and mark the same onto the rear piece. Use a steel ruler and a pencil to mark the length. Fix the workpiece on the workbench with the G-clamp for support. Ensure to keep 2 scrap wood on the workpiece to avoid any marring by the clamp. Use the handsaw to cut the piece on the marked lines. Similarly, prepare the front side support. Now you are ready. These components will make the frame of the footrest. Step 4. Dry fit the components to check if they sit flush. Place the rear support in between the 2 side supports so that they sit flush on either end of the rear support. The front support should sit snugly between the side supports. The top of the front and rear support should be flush with the tops of the side supports. When the fit looks good, affix them together by applying some glue on the joining sides of the components. Step 5. Use a brush to apply glue on the joining sides of all the pieces. Then hammer some wire nails into each of the side supports' edges. Don't hammer them all the way in. Fix the rear support and the front support to the edge of the side support and hammer the nails all the way in. Affix the other side support in the same manner. Wipe off any excess glue with a damp cloth. Smoothen the top edges flush with the side support and ensure that the edges are flat for the strips to be placed evenly. Step 6. While you leave the glue to dry, start cutting the strips that will make the top of your footrest. Measure the frame width from edge to edge and mark a line on the wooden strip to be cut. Hold the strip on the workbench against the bench top for support and cut it on the marked line with a handsaw. Measure and set the marking gauge to the required thickness and mark a line on both edges from the face side. Using a jack plane, bring them to the required dimension. Most footrests have spaces between the strips so that the grime from the shoe sole is easily dusted off. How much space you choose is up to you. Ideally, a gap of 4 mm is suitable between each strip. Ensure each strip is of the same thickness, width and length. Else the footrest will look less professional when put together. Step 7. Place the first strip adjoining the rear support piece. Adjust the strip so it is flush with the top edges of the side support sides. Drive a nail on either side of the strip. Leave a gap of 4 mm and place the second strip. Continue nailing all the strips into place, dispersing them at an equal distance until you reach the end of the frame, which will have 7 strips fitted. Step 8. Once your project is assembled, use a sandpaper to smoothen down the rough edges and finish with a top coat of your choice. Use this practical guide to make a footrest of your own. Here is a recap of the broad steps you need to perform to complete the workpiece. First, square the wooden pieces. Second, mark and cut the side support to size. Third, mark and cut the rear and front support to size. Fourth, dry fit the components. Fifth, apply glue and assemble the frame. Sixth, cut out the strips. Seventh, assemble the strips. Step 8. Give finishing touches. In this session, you will learn to build a wooden dustbin. It can be made quickly and will make a useful addition to your home or wood shop. After completing this session, you will be able to estimate the material required for a dustbin, construct a dustbin as per the drawing. You must prepare the cutting list before you buy the material required for construction. Start by carefully examining the work drawing for dimensions and design of the dustbin. A cutting list must specify the length, width, and thickness of the wood to be bought. Here, plywood of 12 mm thickness has been used, but you can use any hardwood or plywood. Ensure your plywood is between 12 mm to 15 mm thickness. The list should also state the tools and material used to make the workpiece and the quantity required. In order to make a dustbin, the tools needed are steel ruler or measuring tape, marking gauge, tri-square, pencil, hand saw, jack plane, smoothing plane, ball peen hammer, nail punch, pincers, screwdriver. And the materials you will need are a 12 mm plywood, nails, screws, woodworking adhesive, sandpaper. Now that we are ready with the tools and materials required, let's construct the dustbin. Step 1. Select the wooden face that is free from knots and shakes. Measure and mark a straight line with a steel ruler and a pencil on the wooden piece. Support the wooden piece to the bench top. And using a handsaw, cut it along the marked line to form a square. Step 2. As per the design, the dustbin is wider at the top and narrow at the bottom. Measure and mark the dimensions to the specifications provided in the drawing. Use a steel ruler and a pencil to mark a tapering line on the pieces that will make the side wall of the dustbin. Ensure once again the marked dimensions are to the specification. Mark a reference line on the top and bottom edge of the piece with the help of a tri-square for saw to cut. Once you have the cutting lines in place, cut the piece according to the size. Support the workpiece to the bench top and start cutting on the marked line with a handsaw. Next, support the wooden piece to the bench vise. Use a jack plane to smoothen the edges flat. Plane all the unfinished side down to these lines. Once again, use a tri-square to check the squareness of the edge. If required, plane it further of any ridges left on your board. Similarly, build the back panel. Making the back panel is very much similar to the front panel. These two pieces should mirror one another. Just subtract the thickness of the side panel from the overall width. Keep in mind that these sides, when assembled, will actually fit inside the front and back panels you cut earlier. Now you are ready with the front and back panels of your dustbin. Mark the face side on each of the panels with a pencil. Step 3. Now apply glue down the side edge of the side panels and place it at a 90-degree angle to the front panel. The side panel should be flush with the outer edge of the front panel. Drive the nails in place, spacing them evenly on both edges of the front panel. Similarly, join the remaining side panel and the back panel. Wipe away any excess glue that oozes out. The joined panels should form a perfect square on the top and bottom. Step 4. Turn the dustbin over and smoothen the bottom edges flat with a smoothing plane. Measure the dimensions required for the base from the outer edge of the joint panels. Measure and mark out the lines with a steel ruler on the base wooden piece. Then support it to the bench top. Cut out the base with a handsaw from the remaining wood. Check the flatness with a tri-square. Support it to the bench vise and plane the edges so they are perfect flat. Keep checking the trueness of the base with a tri-square. Step 5. Go on to attach the bottom piece. Place the bottom piece over the base of the bin and align all 4 sides so it runs flush over the bin. Apply glue on the edges and attach the bottom piece. Drive the nails in place. Wipe off any excess glue with a damp cloth. Trim the excess wood from the edges with a smoothing plane so it sits perfectly. Allow the glue to dry thoroughly. Step 6. Once the dustbin is assembled, hammer in the nail heads into the wood with a nail punch so that it has a smooth surface for the finishing job. Then with a sandpaper, sand down all the sides to give the surface a smooth finish. With a mixture of sawdust and glue, fill in the gaps and nail holes on the surface and the edges and let them dry. Apply polish or paint the dustbin as desired. Wooden dustbins give a decorative touch to any room. Build one of your own. Use this practical guide to make a dustbin of your own. Here is a recap of the broad steps you need to perform to complete the workpiece. First, square the wooden piece. Second, mark and cut the panels to size. Third, apply glue and assemble the panels together. Fourth, cut a bottom piece for the base. 5. Apply glue and assemble the base. 6. Give finishing touches. A dowel joint is simply another way to reinforce a butt joint. A dowel joint uses lengths of rounded wood called dowels between the joining boards. A dowel joint also serves as a cost-effective substitute for a mortise and tenon. In this session, you will learn how to prepare dowel joints. After completing this session, you will be able to identify the types of dowel joints, state the uses of dowel joints, prepare dowel joints.
बच्चों के इंटरनेट सेफ्टी के लिए 5 टिप्स। पहला, अपनी व्यक्ति
We shall continue with pavement distresses in this session. Next pavement distress is longitudinal cracking.